Welcome to the Cynthia Nyamai show. To the 3 months leading to June, close to 500 people in Kenya committed suicide. Now, this number is higher than the number we had in 2020, according to the Kenya police. The youngest victim was 9 years old and the oldest 76. And those are just the cases that have been reported. Today, we try to understand suicide through a young man who lost his brother who committed suicide. That is coming up shortly. Thank you so much, Sam West, for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me as well.
Asante sana. I wanted to go straight into the topic, but you being a celeb, I know people have questions about you, your background and so on. So if you could just tell us a little bit, where were you born and how was life growing up?
Yes, awesome. So before I jump there, niko na salamu nimetumwa. I have friends who are big fans of this show.
Thank
and
you so
especially
much.
you, they
Yes.
follow your journey.
Yes.
Niambia, Sam ukifika huko salamia Cynthia.
Nimepokea.
Sasa.
Nimepokea ni wape salamu zangu.
Aya, basi, I think nishalipa deni. All right, so you asked how I grew up.
Yes, and where you grew up.
Awesome. So to start with, mimi ni kijana wa mashambani.
Yeah.
I was born in Nyahururu,
Yes.
which is in Laikipia County.
Yeah.
And I'm a firstborn. So I had I have a sister who is behind me. And of course I had a brother who passed on. We'll be talking about him. And then we had an adopted sister who was ahead of me. But as we grew up, our parents, brought us up in a way that we thought she was one of us.
Yes.
Actually, ni yeye alituambia, but mimi si wenye, but I always knew she's our firstborn.
Yes.
And so I schooled in a very interesting school. And mi waibika kusema jina hiyo shule. But it's inaitwa 91 Municipality School.
Yes.
It's in Nyahururu. That's where I did my primary school.
Yes.
And then I passed with flying colors.
Wow.
Nilikuwa na 584
Wow.
KCPE. I was, I think, top 3 in the whole county.
Yeah.
And nikachukuliwa national school. I went to Nairobi school,
Yes.
Upper Patch.
Yeah.
And nikafanya form 1, form 2, form 3, form 4. It was a very interesting experience. I got to learn about myself, understand how life is.
Yeah.
And of course, being a guy from mashambani, coming to Nairobi, maara na maelo zikuwa nisumbua.
So coming to the city was an experience.
It was quite an experience.
Yes.
And also even the commuting back and forth
Yes.
from Nairobi all the way to mashambani.
Yes.
It was amazing. Then I finished high school. Now from there, I think I would call myself an adventurous type. The people who say I had confused choices after school.
Yeah.
Sabu, I was in a couple of universities. So I was first admitted at Nairobi University, Kabete campus. I was doing BCom. After 1 semester, I dropped out.
Yeah.
And then since I had also passed Form 4 pia, I actually had straight A's.
Yes.
The only one ilinisumbua ni English.
Really?
Mpaka wa leo English inanisumbua sana.
Bado hizo haraero.
Hizo haraero.
They come up a lot.
Once in a while zitakushtua.
Yeah.
So I was also admitted at the Chiromo campus to study medicine and surgery.
Wow.
But I quit after 1 semester.
Yes. Why did you quit the first time, second time?
I was just feeling this is not me. I was just feeling there's something about this whole... One of the things I think we should work as a country is to try and guide students as young. I actually tell people it's good to find your purpose at a very young age.
Yes.
Sababu itasaidia pia kuchagua the courses you pick in campus.
That's true.
I think from our history in Kenya, our shows, they used to pick a career based on what their parents were doing. If they were a farmer, unakuwa farmer. If they were a mechanic, the same.
Yeah, and then also by grades, because a student who gets straight A's like you, it is expected you'll probably do medicine or engineering or
exactly.
It's not about your passion or aligned to your purpose.
I like even how you've brought up the issue of passion.
Yes.
But now you see, for now, our parents, like my mom and dad, them, they used to pick a course based on how much they can make. Terms of money, how much can you make, because gani natengeneza pesa mingi. But now it's our team sasa tukakuja this young generation as we are choosing a course based on passions. So but now the sad part about passions is that passions change. If you used to love, like for me, I used to love being a DJ. I used to DJ, then that passion mara moja pap, it can disappear. So now if I had picked a course aligned to that, I'll end up being confused. But now I keep telling people it's good to focus on purpose, because you know, when you know your purpose, you won't keep shifting like me. So now mimi kufanya a whole course ya medicine and quitting after a semester. My dad was very angry.
I can imagine.
We cannot be sending you to Nairobi, no umetoka huku, unafika huko, then you're dropping out. But anyway, hiyo semester moja I can say I can treat a few diseases, kama homa, kama hizo. Then I shifted, nikaenda USIU, nikafanya international business, then I left USIU, pia nika drop huko. My dad akasema, wewe kuna dawa yako, kanipeleka Australia. That's when I did my international business. Then I came back and I got into business. And I think at the age of 24, I started the radio station in Nakuru. Then from there, it's just been now just really trying to align myself on exactly what fulfills me, which is my purpose.
And your purpose is?
I think right now I'm mostly in filmmaking. And motivational speaking, and of course still doing business. But my purpose is aligned in, you know, ensuring that masses get to align themselves with the kingdom mindset. I think that's why my calling is. And anytime I do that, I feel things open up and I see opportunities, and things are easier for me. So that is what Some West is all about.
We are in Suicide Prevention Month. And you're the first person I thought of, because a lot of people who share this story, it's a very sensitive and a difficult story to share. I find that it's women who share more. But I was like, we want to hear this from a man's perspective. And I thought about you, and I was wondering, even as I was talking to you about it, why do you share this story?
Okay, to start with, I wasn't like that. You know, as men, we are wired to hold stuff. You know, we are more logical than we are more emotional. And women being the emotional type, it's very easy for them to share out what is in their heart. But when I met my wife, she has always been pushing me, Sam, you need to talk. I know you've had a past, you've had issues, and you don't need to cling on to them. And sometimes I see most people cling on, especially mistakes. Like you make a mistake and you think now the mistake is you. But there's a difference between you and the mistake. And also the same case happens, there's a difference between your wounds or some of the things you've struggled with and yourself. So when I started understanding that, by the way, it's okay to talk about these things, I started opening up about my history, about my past, about my struggles as a person. So the other day I did a post about how we lost our brother. And of course, I've actually received a lot of calls, even from former schoolmates, saying, wow, I didn't know that that is what happened. We have more information about him, and we can tell you what transpired because you were with him even before you saw him. So the thing is, I left my brother at home because I was schooling in Nairobi. And my dad called and said, hey, we can't see our brother. His name was Geoffrey. He was very well known in that territory. In fact, he was very talented.
Did you have a close relationship with him?
We were buddies. We had actually, even before, like I think a week before, we had traveled with him to Mombasa because he was an artist. he was only 16 years of age, but he, ni wale, najua there are those young boys who are good looking, they are multi-talented. Alikuwa anacheza piano. I'm telling you, there's a time, I think there was a big preacher who was coming to Nyahururu, and so they normally have these interdenominational events, and they pick like the best of every church. So like praise and worship ile mzuri kwa kanisa gani, they pick those ones. Who are the best ushers ni nini. My brother was picked as the best pianist at that time. So he was quite popular.
Multi-talented.
Kwanza wasichana walikuwa nampenda. Nilikuwa na kawivu pia kwa sababu wakikuja wote wanauliza copy boss, because they used to call him boss. Mimi I was the book type. Nilikuwa na focus na kitabu. Na hiyo kitu imeumiza wanaume wengi. So but unajua pia creatives, they tend to attract a lot of people. So
from the outside look, he looked like he had everything.
He looked like he had everything. He had a rap song he had come up with. In school, he was in Nyahururu High School. And he was a prefect already. He was in those drama clubs. So he was like the boy and kila mtu kwa high school anasema I want to be like him. So in 2005, it was in January, and so my dad calls and says, we can't see our brother. And first I was trying to wonder, where is he? He should be in school. But apparently there was an issue that had happened back at school. I think there was a school strike, a fire in school. And he was among the boys that were being suspected.
It happens when you're popular.
And he was a celebrity in school anyway. So
people give up the names of the popular people.
So ndio mimi, because I was in campus then, I decided all the way kuingia kwa matatu, all the way mpaka Nyahururu. So the first thing was to figure out where could he be? So
you went.
I started looking for him. I went home.
Nyahururu and started
looking for him.
Okay. Let me come back to what happened when you started looking for him and how you found him. That is coming up shortly after the break. Welcome back to the Cynthia Nyamai Show. We are so glad that you could join us today. We are talking about suicide, and I shared shocking statistics that we have never ever seen in Kenya before. And it's not just in Kenya, but around the world. Sam West shares his story about how he lost his brother at 16 years. Sam, you were explaining to us that your dad called you. They couldn't find your brother. It was the beginning of school in January. And so your dad asks you, please come to Nyahururu, let's look for your brother. So you're in Nyahururu looking for him.
So I'm in Nyahururu. So I have to first try and make a few phone calls, try and see if I could get his friends, because I knew he had some friends.
Had this ever happened before?
No, this has never happened before. One, I was very surprised to hear he's disappeared. The next thing I had...
And what was going through your mind even as you were driving, you know, to Nyahururu?
In my head, I knew he's okay. But I knew he's a bit cheeky and naughty.
So you just thought he went out somewhere?
I just need to go look for him
he's
and
out
find
with
him.
friends,
So I also called my sister. I have a beautiful sister called Joy. And she was 1 year older than him. And they used to do a lot of things together. Hata kuna wakati walikuwa naenda dunda pamoja. And so I knew probably my sister. So I asked my sister, have you heard from my brother? And she says, no, I actually don't know where he is as well. So I go home and my mom is right there. Is also worried. Everyone is worried.
Now it's been how many days?
Now it's like 3 days. We don't know where he is. And so I started going around from one house to another. I remember I was in town and I was in between. And I thought probably he's, you know, he had a girlfriend. And I thought maybe my brother has gone to see the girlfriend. And I started heading towards that direction. Then my dad calls. Sam, you have to come home. And I'm like, is everything okay? Just come home. And I sensed something is not right. And so I called my mom just to know what's happening. And when I call her on the other side, she's crying. And I asked, Mom, is everything okay? And she goes, where Sam, uko wapi? Kuja nyumbani. So nikakimbia. I got home. Kufika nyumbani, the mood in the house, like it's a grieving mood.
Yes.
And I just couldn't understand and comprehend what's happening. Then I saw the neighbors were also at home.
Yes.
So I started panicking. Something has happened and this thing looks like it's going to turn out ugly.
Yes.
And my dad says, brother ako amepatikana, ako hapo nyuma. Wapi nyuma? There was an abandoned structure next to our house.
Yes.
Ni mtu tu alikuwa anajenga nyumba, alafu najua venye Wakenya wanaanza kujenga, wanalemewa na pesa. So nyumba iko kiki structure. So I decided, let me go and check him out. And I'm wondering, what is he doing outside there instead of being in the house? So I started, you know, I had those imaginations, pictures, something has gone wrong. I don't know, I just didn't know. I'd say, let me go check. And my dad wanted to restrain me, but my mom said, watch, I ended to her. So I went there, I went to the back of the house, and there was a big crowd. And I'm like, hey, watu wanafanya nini? And then they're all talking in, you know, in whispers. Hakuna mtu anaongea na nguvu na wamenyamaza. So walking in, I see something on the wall. Kwa frame ya mlango, I can see kamba. And then I can see a body that is hanging there. But sioni vizuri juu imeface the other side. So nikaamua, I need to see, I hope this is not my brother. But initially, while we were looking for him, reports were that alikuwa amevaa a green sweater and some checked trouser. And apparently the green sweater was mine. So I went there and kapita kwa watu, nikaona, hiyo kichwa inakaa familiar. This looks like one of our family members. Kaanza kupanic and I didn't know what to do from there. Then I have to go and check. So I had to go around, nikaenda mbele, and that's when I looked at him. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. Actually, I wish I had not gone to see that. Sababu, I can see it's his face, but macho yake ni kama imetoka. Alafu, his tongue was black in color. And you can just see the strain on the face. And then, of course, kamba imepita hapa juu. And I looked and I was like, wow, this is my brother. I just couldn't believe it. And then there was anger. At that point, I had several emotions. Anger, you know, why him? Why is this happening to our family? Why is all this happening to us? And I looked at him and I just grabbed him. First I was wondering, why is he here and why are all these people here and they're not bringing him down? In my head, I'm telling myself, he's not dead, he's still alive. So I grab him. He's very cold and it's very stiff. And I started crying. In the process, I had one person, huko tu kwa audience, ameshout, hey, huyo ni kama alikufa kitambo. At once I was angry. Nikamwambia, hajakufa. What are you talking about? Toka hapa. I was angry, like I was screaming and shouting. I'm crying at the same time. And the whole crowd scattered because now alikuwa anaona hapa, hii aggression is just too much. And sasa from there, the thing that happened ni maswali. Why? Mbona alienda hii direction? And then police, nikaona tu mapolisi wakakuja and they wanted to take his body. And my mom wanted to come and see as well. Nikaona anakuwa restrained. Everyone was just crying. Where we were was at the fence. Ilikuwa the school he used to be in. So sisi tunaishi tu kwa fence. So hata akitaka kukuja, kwa naruka tu fence anaingia kwa nyumba. So students wengine wakakuja. Ni kama wakaambiana, by the way, something has happened, one of our students pia ameenda. Sasa the challenge was that night. Hey, maswali. Start asking yourself, what is that he was struggling with? Hangeniambia. Mbona hata hangeambia my dad ama my mom ama hata marafiki wake. And then the next thing, you see, what usually happens is, while you're young, you are naturally a narcissist.
Yes.
Unapatanga most children are like that. They think about themselves a lot. A heightened level of self-importance. Wanafikirianga ni yao. So the first thing that happened is thinking mimi ndiye makosa. And maybe there's something I should have done. I didn't do it. So in the house naona kila mtu anafikiria. My dad is also thinking, was I too harsh on him? My mom is also trying to think. And then the next thing, you start now blaming the school.
Yes.
Maybe your shule ndio ilifanya ama ni marafiki wake.
Yes.
And then you start thinking, there has to be something. Then, as you're talking, conversations in the house, and people are talking, mbona akini nini imetendeka? Why are young people behaving like this? Other ideas started coming.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't kill himself.
Yes.
Maybe he was murdered.
Yes.
So now questions start raising in your head. Why was he murdered? Who are our family enemies?
Yes.
And why would they do this? So it brought a lot of confusion. Actually, the whole night sikulala. I was not even able to eat. For a couple of days, kukula. I'm not able to sleep. The same thing's happening with my family because my dad cried. And then at that time, we didn't even know where we were going to bury him.
Yes.
So we didn't have a land or anything because we were on rented land, a house and everything. So sasa tumpeleke in a public cemetery. How do we go about it? I think there were some friends of my dad walichangana pesa wakambaya akakuota piece of land somewhere ili ende azikwe hapo. But there was too much trauma that we struggled with for a whole month. Unajua kuna grieving stage na kuna trauma. I think Kenya kilini traumatized is
How
the picture.
old were you then?
I think I was around 20.
Yes.
But now the picture of him.
Yes.
Hizo pictures zilikataa kutoka kwa kichwa. Hata wakati you are doing the burial, nilikataa kwenda kumuona in the coffin. Kwa sababu nilikuwa najua hizo picha, how I see him, that is how it's going to end up for the rest of my life. And ukweli, hizo picha hazijaitoka. With him hanging on that rope, hiyo kitu hajaitoka. And now, of course, you know, we also had people, pastors. My mom and dad were pastors. So we had a lot of support from the church. But I noticed my sister was really affected by it. And she couldn't move on because she was in high school. Hata alishindwa kurudi shule immediately. But now for my mom, it was even worse. Kwa sababu unajua the attachment of a mother and a son. So trying to wonder, why would my son go this direction? What is it that I couldn't provide? Nini ilikuwa ngumu sana? And until today, we've never been able to answer those questions. You know, sometimes people tend to think that when you take your life, unajitolea shida.
It's true.
But what they don't know, unaongezea wengine shida.
That's true.
And life is intertwined. You know, like you might think like Cynthia, that life is all about you. But the truth of the matter is you're owned by so many people. You're owned by your family, you're owned by your friends, you're owned by your government. Hata niliona kuna mtu, an artist, I think in Nigeria, mwenye alikuwa anataka kujua. So he's being jailed. Because he doesn't own the life.
We have even in Kenya.
Especially, So hiyo act ya kufikiria that you can own your life, you can take your life at your own will. Hiyo, to me, I felt that is wrong for him to go that direction. You see, if you can't make something, then don't be the one to destroy it. If you don't have the power to build a life, you don't have power also to take it away. And so I had a lot of emotions, a lot of even guilt, because I'm thinking I should have been there for him. And of course the anger and the shame and just the fear. And then now what happens is, you know, that spirit, suicide, kakianza kuingia, wanza kuona if your friend, ama a family member, amefanya, hata wewe ukiwa kwa shida unafikiria hata mimi, that could be a route.
That's why sometimes you see in some families a number of people have committed suicide.
Because nika mlango kamefunguliwa. So if
it begins to look like an option.
An option. And especially it's worse if a parent does it,
Yes.
the children will always see it as an option,
Yes.
because children duplicate themselves from the parents.
Yes.
So that angle of one person opening that door of suicide in a family, what they don't know, they are creating a whole lineage of other people who might want to do the same thing. So I think as a family, we really struggled for long.
Yes.
Now, this is what transpired as well. I remember after my dad got a big deal.
Yes.
And he started becoming wealthy. And word started going around in the estate that he sacrificed his son so that he can make wealth. You know, those things now started affecting us as well. And I'm wondering, why do people always just have to, involved in those kind of rumors that have no basis? This is a family that is struggling. They are trying to get things together. They are trying to, deal with trauma and the grieving, because the grieving process can take long. And
did, as a family, did you all go for counseling or seek professional help?
Not exactly, but we allowed each other to go through the process. Whenever one of us felt like breaking down and just crying, it was allowed. No one was told, no, don't do that. We were allowed and let to just grieve and go through the whole process. And over time...
And would you talk about it as family members?
Yeah, we'd talk about it. We talked about it with my sister, who was mostly affected, and my mom as well. But also it really... Let me tell you something that transpired now. There were some things that used to excite my mom that she stopped doing after that. My mom used to be that type of a person that used to bake cakes for weddings. And then she used to be that person that used to lead the wedding process of the card caking. And she stopped. In fact, some of the things she used to do after that situation, she stopped again. And so we were just encouraging her the other day, some of these things that you stopped pursuing, some of those passions, because she gave up on the things you look forward to, as a mother. I think she was the most affected.
So a part of you dies.
A part of you dies.
And is there, I'm just imagining, is there a time where as a family again, you all probably sit at the table and laugh like before? Do those moments come back again? Yeah,
we try to, over time now it's become easier, but then it was a struggle. And I remember I overheard a conversation that my mom and dad, after they lost my brother, they were considering also getting another child, because now we were left, we were only two, and they wanted 3 or 4. So they were thinking maybe we should have another child to replace that one. Then that conversation kind of eloped, and they said maybe he'll be too old to deal with a teenager. And so wakasema nyinyi ndio mtatuzalia. So I have a young boy. He's exactly like my brother. And he's very talented. He's into a lot of activities. And people call him the same name sometimes. They call him Boss. He used to be called Boss. So I think, but it was not a very good experience.
And you mentioned having so many questions. Have some of those questions been answered? Did you find out why he committed suicide? What are some of the answers that have come up?
I think the truth is, no one has ever answered those questions.
He didn't leave a note? Or?
I wish he had left a note. I think people should be leaving notes so that the answers should not... because, that element of asking yourselves questions that have no answers, it goes on and on and on. Even now, I still have those questions and no one can answer them. And then sometimes you think you know the answer, then it turns out you don't know the answer. In my head, I thought he had impregnated a lady. And so I kept for a couple of months, I kept checking up on that lady just to see if something is going to pop up.
Yes.
And nothing popped up.
Yeah.
So, you know, so I'm like, okay, maybe that's not the reason. And then I thought maybe it's because of school. But when I talked to the best friends, people, and we've become very good friends with some of his friends.
Yes.
They're like, we don't know.
Yeah.
But I hear that he had malaria. And I don't know, it probably could have affected his brain.
Yes.
But I don't know. Those were just questions. But one of the things we told ourselves, you know, we have to try and forgive him and know that he was sick. The problem is not that he wanted to leave us, he hated us,
Yes.
he didn't enjoy being with us. We told ourselves he was not okay, and he was sick, he needed help, but he didn't know how to look for it. And yeah, so that's how it's been. And so every day is a day at a time.
Yes.
Trying to understand what really transpired. And of course, now the other thing is that later on my dad passed on.
Yes.
And so now when you lose now the other, now our dad, what happens is now it kept bringing memories of our brother passed on.
So it
I think it's now, it's now like 15 years or 16 years ago. Actually, it's now exactly 16 years since he passed on. So those things keep triggering. And then anytime we hear of someone who's committed suicide, it triggers back. If we hear of someone who something has happened, if I see a young boy playing a piano, now this is the other thing that happened. After that death, we stopped visiting places where we used to go with him. I used to hang out a lot with him in some like bowling areas, and I stopped going to such places. We used to play the piano together. I think 2 weeks before he died, he came to me, and because he was very good with the piano, told me, Sam, you see now you are around 20, and now you're just about to get yourself a girlfriend. How about I teach you a few melodies that you can play your girlfriend, so that you're also romantic, you're not just a bookworm, you know. Let me teach you. And he taught me the tune, and I learned how to play the tune. But after he passed on, my interest in the piano disappeared. I said, no, I don't want to do it. Just the other day, nilianza kusema maybe I should try the piano again. So even the friends that he had, I started avoiding them because nikiwaona wananikumbusha. And then now all the cousins who had the same name, nikisikia wakiitwa the same, hiyo kitu pia ina trigger. So it just creates a whole lifestyle that is not healthy at all. And I think I would like to appeal to people out there. If really you know you won't commit suicide, just know the trauma your family will be going through. And if you really love your family, don't let them go through that. Because what happens is, you're leaving them with questions, you're leaving them with grieving, you're leaving them with, you know, they've also invested a lot in you. And it's very, 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 in fact, I normally say it's selfish. Actually I think it's an essence of ego and pride. I know some people will be against what I'm trying to say right now. For someone to think that they can just take away their lives to solve their problems. What is that one problem that is so difficult that can't be solved? What is that thing that you think is so special to you? In fact, I think the Bible says there's nothing new under the planet. Everything that is happening to you has happened to someone or is still happening to someone at the same time. So if you think your problem is too big, just know it has a solution. So thinking that you can take a permanent solution for a temporal problem, umepotea. And then look at what you are missing. What are you losing? The truth of the matter is we are born to become something.
That's true.
We are like a seed, but we're supposed to become a forest. So when you decide to kill this seed, you have denied the world a forest. And look at some, I was reading a story of Oprah. Can you imagine Oprah wanted to commit suicide while she was younger? And ati kwa sababu ameachwa na boyfriend. siku hizi watu wanaachwa kila siku. And I look at so many young girls here and there, and naona venye wako na depression ati kwa sababu boyfriend amemwona sijui na nani. Na wengine kwanza wanaenda social media wana post. Kuna mwingine niliona akilia live ati sijui ameachwa sijui na girlfriend, so unashindwa. Honestly, why do we see like our path is so unique and it has no solutions? Everything you're going through has a solution. You don't need to go that direction.
Maybe also it's because we do not have conversations like this. Conversations on mental health, conversations on suicide
to normalize
prevention.
These conversations.
Yes. And when there's numbers I shared, you know, close to 500 people committing suicide this year in 3 months to June, and the experience that you've had, people sending you messages that they want to commit suicide. What have you observed about Kenya, and especially this year? What is giving people that idea to take that option?
The truth of the matter is, I think lack of information has also been affecting people, because whatever you don't know, you think is complicated. Whatever you know is easy. In fact, life goes like that. If you know something, it becomes easier for you. So one of the things is people are lacking information on how to deal with their situations, and then not seeking help. You know, everything that you are going through right now, Cynthia, and you think is difficult, there's someone somewhere who knows how to overcome it. Now, people are not willing to talk, and especially the men. The men wanajiwekeanga. Alafu when they go to speak to fellow men, badala amwambie how can we deal with this, wanamwambie itishie upombe, mpe bill kwa bill yangu, instead of creating a situation where people can talk. Now, the truth of the matter is, your lack of know-how na lack of expressing yourself. Najua pia our culture has been modeled for us to keep quiet. You see, even like a woman in my mother tongue, anaitangwa mutumia, which means someone who shuts up. But unfortunately, it's the other way around. They're the ones who talk too much. But this is what happens. That culture of people thinking that if they hide their problems. I've traveled before. Now, of course, kuna suicide cases uko nje, but there are cultures where people really talk. They express themselves. And if Kenyans can learn how to talk, and I think peer social media imesaidia, because the people who express themselves on social media, because that's the only space they think. Like when I posted, I had like inboxes, I had comments, people saying, hey, right now I feel like committing suicide. Now, ukisikiza case, the reasons, ni the normal things. Sijui nilifutwa kazi, sijui nimepoteza nini, watoto wangu hawajakula, sijui boyfriend yangu ameniacha, sijui I found my husband cheating. Normal issues that if people talked about, we can find a solution. We can find a solution
of taking that route.
Yes. And then sasa I was reading a story, imenikasirisha sana. There's a story in Nakuru just the other day. I think a doctor, a whole doctor, deciding to commit suicide and even kill his own children. Your element ya kufeel like, okay, siangejua kwanza peke yake, achane na watoto. But still yeye mwenyewe ni nini hiyo ilikuwa so difficult, haingekuwa dealt with. So I think for lack of platforms, I think there should be a space where people can express themselves, and a space that is not judgmental. But still, I think the fact that everyone is struggling, they don't have time to listen.
That's true.
Most people don't have time to listen. If you listen to most of them, they'll say, you know, who do you even talk to? Like I posted in Kambia to speak, talk to someone, and one asked, who do you even talk to? And who is willing to listen? You're going through your own issues. Like the other day, I was just walking pale, mtumia kanisimamisha. And then I was in a rush, naenda kwa meeting, anataka tuongee. Now that is the nature of Kenyans.
But we are glad at least today we had this conversation. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. But thank you so much, Sam West, for the courage. I know people can find you on Facebook and Instagram and still have this conversation with you. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
If you were thinking to commit suicide and you were looking for a sign not to, then today's show is that sign. Committing suicide does not take away the challenge that you're facing. It takes away the opportunity to find out more about yourself, the solutions ahead for you. Thank you for joining us today, and see you next time.